Okay. So I think we're good to go. So yeah, thank you very much for inviting, and yeah, definitely. Why I still kind of an entrepreneur, so I understand what you guys are going through. So let's talk about a bit about myself. As you can see, my name is Tony Shea. It happens to be the same name as Tony Shea from Zappos. I don't know if you guys know him. Yeah, so I have strangers come up to me and tell me my name is Tony Shea, and it's kind of funny. Anyhow, so I am a account manager for SEO, currently working at Merkle. It's a online digital marketing company. It provides all kinds of digital marketing services. As you can see up there, we do anything you can think of about digital marketing. Paid search, organic search, email marketing, database management, strategy, anything, almost everything, essentially. And that's what we do. So because of that capability, we get huge clients, like Fortune 500 clients. In fact, one of the account that I work on is Fortune 500. Now, as I told you, I am also an entrepreneur. I started a website back in 2009, I think, or 10, part-time, while I was still a cancer researcher. So I used to be a cancer researcher working in a lab, and I started a website called Eventsburg, and eventually I actually sold that website. I built around a company around it, and I sold that website. So I understand, being able to see that and actually have access to large clients. I know the challenge you guys face, and also I know the benefit of being a small guy. And the first thing is, obviously limited resources. I mean, it's a con, obviously, but in return to that, you guys don't have to go through a lot of organizational BS. Let's put it that way. For example, the day contact that we have is in marketing department, and whenever we make a recommendation, they have to go through different departments, and it takes a long time for them to implement. Whereas you guys, if you have an idea, if you want to, do something, you can do it right away. So that's that with regards to why it's good being a small guy. And before I move any further, so how many of you guys have a website? Everybody, or even a personal website, personal blog, whatever, something. No. Okay, so why did you build a website?
So that people could come and stay up to date with us and check out what we're doing.
Right. So you have something that you are offering, and you want people to know about it, right? And that's why you build a website. You want exposure, right? Then you should know SEO, and I'm going to show you why. So here are the key points agenda that we're going to go through. First of all, I'm going to talk about what is SEO and why you should care about it. Then the SEO can be divided up into on-site SEO and off-site SEO. I'll get into detail and show you the differences. Then I'll show you what you should not do. I will show you a list of companies that actually did something bad and got penalized by Google. It's kind of funny what they did. And then I'll go through a few companies, through mail, to show you guys, how you guys doing. So first things, business 101, location, right? If you want customers, you should go to where customers are. And traditionally, brick and mortar businesses, they really care about location. They want to be on high street because that's where everybody, where their customers are. Whereas nowadays startups, we have website, and you should, same thing, same idea. You should be where people are. So why should you care about SEO? Here's the data. 50%, almost 50% of the traffic that comes from search engines. And that's kind of, if you think about it. And a lot of people don't care about SEO, even though that's the fact. So if you have a website, you should care about it. And then 30% comes directly to your website, right? So if you think about it, 50%, I mean, that's a huge chunk of it. Now let's talk about search engines, how many there are out there. Obviously the big player is Google. with almost 70% market share. Bing and Yahoo, they are essentially the same thing because Yahoo uses Bing as their search engine. So being a small guy, I don't think you should waste your time focusing on both. You should just focus on Google. Even though the things I'm going to point out applies to both, but I'm going to primarily focus on Google in my talk. So here's a video I would like to show you. Instead of me blagging around about what SEO is, I thought it was probably easier to just show you a video.
This is Search Engine Optimization, explained by Commoncraft, in collaboration with Search Engine Land. Imagine for a minute that you're a librarian, but not a normal one. You're a librarian for every book in the world. People depend on you every day to find the exact book they need. How do you do it? You need a system. You need to know what's inside every book and how books relate to each other. Your system needs to take in a lot of information and spit out the best answers for a patron's questions. It's not an easy job. Search engines like Google and Bing are the librarians of the internet. Their systems collect information about every page on the web so they can help people find exactly what they're looking for. And every search engine has a secret recipe called an algorithm for turning all that information into useful search results. Now, if you own a website, search results matter. When your pages have higher rankings, they help more people find you. The key to higher rankings is making sure your website has the ingredients search engines need for their recipes. This is called search engine optimization, or SEO. As it turns out, most of the big ingredients are known. Let's take a look. First, words matter. Search engines account for every word on the web. This way, when someone searches for shoe repair, the search engines can narrow results to only the pages that are about those words. Second, titles matter. Each page on the web has an official title, but you may not ever see it because it's in the code. Search engines pay a lot of attention to page titles because they often summarize the page like a book's title. Third, links between websites matter. When one web page links to another, it's usually a recommendation, telling readers this site has good information. A web page with a lot of links coming to it can look good to search engines. But some people try to fool the search engines by creating or buying bogus links all over the web that point to their own website. Usually, search engines can detect when a site has a lot of them, and they account for it by giving links from trustworthy sites more weight in the recipe. Fourth, the words that are used in links matter too. If your web page says Amazon has lots of books, and the word books is linked, search engines can establish that Amazon.com is related to the word books. This way, when someone searches for books, that site will rank well. Lastly, search engines care about reputation. Sites with a consistent record of fresh, engaging content and growing numbers of quality links may be considered rising stars and do well in search rankings. These are just the basics, and the recipes are refined and changed all the time. Good SEO is about making sure your website has great content that's supported by the ingredients that search engines need for their recipes. I'm Lee Lefevre, and this has been Search Engine Optimization, explained by Commoncraft. Learn more about SEO at Search Engine Land.
And that's actually one of the sites that we use a lot because they provide a lot of good information. So how much of that information is new to you? Did you already know some of it, part of it? Which part did you already know?
Definitely the links. The links I know, keywords I know, titles I think I know. I think the bottom two wasn't very clear to me. I forgot what the bottom two. Like reputation.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay. So yeah, it sounds like you pretty much know everything. That basic SEO you already
SEO, I think, yeah.
Right. That's good. So yeah, I mean SEO. I'll show you. Actually, I think it's in the next slide. A couple more actually, but SEO can be divided into on-site and off-site, and it basically just went through everything in that video. And when people talk about SEO, they tend to think about backlinks, like build as many links as you can, and that's it. That's what SEO is all about. But that's not the case, and I'm gonna show you why that is in a minute. But that's the main message I'm trying to pass it here. So I'm sure you guys are technology savvy, so you know difference between paid and organic. And interesting enough, they actually changed the background of that paid section. I don't know if you guys noticed. And actually, we did a bit of study on that. That actually increased the revenue for Google. A lot more people click on paid search now because of that, because they cannot really tell the difference. Okay, that's good. So you guys know which part is organic result. So let's move on to on-site SEO, and this is really the main focus of this talk, and I think it's really a good starting point for you guys. There are about 200 ranking factors for Google, but it doesn't apply to every single website. Every site is different. Retail site is different from blog site is different from corporate site. So depending on the type of website that you have, different factors apply to you. But even that, there are certain factors that applies to everybody. And I'm gonna go through some of the on-site factors that applies to everybody. Off-site factors, it's basically about buying links, and I'll get a little bit deeper into that. I'm just showing you sort of over like high level overview of what those are. So let's dive a little bit deeper into on-site SEO. The first one is title tag, and that's one of the most important factor. In fact, when I was going through interviews, every single company I interviewed, they asked me, give me 3 important factors, on-site SEO factors, and that's one of them. So if you have a website, make sure you have title tag on every single page of your website, and make sure that's within 55 characters, because anything longer than that, you get truncated. And if you can, try to pick words, keywords that are relevant to that page. Obviously that will send the message to Google that that's what the page is all about. Now, meta description tag, this doesn't directly influence the ranking, but what it does is influence the user behavior. So if you can craft your description well enough that people will click on the search result, and actually that is called SERP, search engine result page, and we normally call it SERP. So your listing that shows up on the SERP, right, and it comes with the description, as you can see on the screen there, it should be within 150 characters. Anything longer than that actually gets truncated a little bit there because it's longer than 150. So keep it within that, and try to put some call to action words. There's been a study showing that if you do add call to action words, people tend to click more. It's like,
what is it? Action words you said?
call to action.
Call to action.
Yeah, like
okay.
Check this out,
Okay.
read this blog. Yeah,
And
those kind of words.
How does it get the meta description tag? Is it in the page itself in HTML?
Right. So you will add a HTML tag, like bracket, meta description,
meta.
and then we call this meta tag. I mean, that's why it's called meta description tag.
Okay. There's a title tag.
Right. And actually, I do have. So here, you put it meta name. For that one would be description. So meta name, description, and then content. You will put whatever you want to say about the page. Right.
Interesting.
Okay. And next one, meta keywords. Google stopped using meta keywords. They don't care about it anymore since 2009. But there are still other search engines out there that take meta keywords into their ranking factor. And as a matter of fact, Bing still does it, but it's not a really high ranking factor. So there are basically 3 groups of SEO professional. One saying, let's put as many meta keywords on our page, as much as you can, because since we don't know what these search engines algorithms are, as many as we can, the relevant keyword, if we put as many as we can, they will just pick it up and somehow index, get our page higher. Then there's the middle ground guys, and I belong to that page actually, to just put relevant keywords. And by doing that, you basically send, same idea. You send a signal to search engine saying, okay, this is the page, what it is about. And there's third group that they say, well, since Google don't care about it anymore, they just remove it. Don't use meta keywords at all. But what we recommend to our client is actually the second option. We do not want to discount those non-Google search engines. So ideally, you should just put what's relevant for your page, and that's the best practice. Now, meta robots, depending on the type of the site that you have, this will come in handy. And for example, search result pages, even blogs have them, right? I mean, these days, when they type in on-site search, it spits out a page. And that page shouldn't be indexed because depending on the search query that you put in, you could get the same result page, right? That's duplicate content, and Google doesn't like it. So what you do is you use the robots and tell Google, don't index that page because it's a duplicate content. And that's how you solve that problem. But I mean, obviously, depending on the cases, because some website they use search result as their product page. Don't ask me why, but because of the IT people, they don't understand SEO, and they sometimes do that, and we have to find another solution for those kind of situation. But generally speaking, meta robots, it's useful for you to make your page not getting indexed.
Why did you want to get your page not indexed?
So for example, on-site search results, right? So you type SEO, it gives you a result, and you type what is SEO, it gives you a result, but those results could be the same. When Google sees those results, it's duplicate content, and Google doesn't like it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So you can use that to tell Google, don't index them.
Yeah, in general, we probably won't need it, right? I think it's only on-site searches.
Right, the on-site search result pages.
Oh, I
those
see.
pages, right?
So they're saying they don't want the same results to pop up twice.
What basically, you don't want to show Google that you have duplicate content, and that's the issue there, because by showing Google those pages, you're telling them, you're showing duplicate content on your site, basically.
What does duplicate content mean?
So duplicate content means identical content, and this happens a lot with a retailer site. For example, you have a page, you're selling, I don't know, manicure. Let's say you have a manicure page, right?
Yeah.
Then there are a lot of filtering options, catalog, or there are filter options to show different amount of products on single page. And sometimes those pages can be the same content or almost the same. And that's not good because you have the same title tag, you have the same description, and you have almost the same of almost everything. And Google doesn't like it. So depending on the situation, there are different ways to solve it, but this is one of the ways that you can use to solve those kind of problems. Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to mention that, if you have any questions, just jump in. That's the reason we are doing this presentation. So heading tags, this is another important factor. And there are 6 types, H1 to H6. H1 is the most important, and you should have only one H1 tag, even though there are exceptions, but just for simplicity, they just say you should only have one H1. And do not use it for design purposes. I've seen this a lot, like a lot of IT people, especially web designer, they just use it in their CSS, and it's very simple. You can just change it very easily in your CSS file to not use H1. Anyway, it's gonna be a long conversation if we go down that road, because we have to always argue why you shouldn't, and then they come back and say, well, why not, and this and that. So the message here is just use them to organize your content. And to reinforce that, do not use more than one H1 tag.
But what about for the following 5 H tags?
You can use multiple for those ones, as long as they make sense, because you don't want to use H2 tag for, a lot of your content, because H2 tag sends a stronger message saying this is important, not as strong as H1. And when Google see a lot of H2, it'll be like, what are you doing, right? So you should, just be reasonable. That the bottom line is, because what Google wants you to do is to make your website user-friendly. By doing that, people come to Google, reach to your site, they get a relevant, user-friendly page, they will tend to come back to Google, right? And that's the reason they want, if your site is good, people come back to Google, they make more money. And that's the reason they want you to do a good SEO.
Do you think we can...
So, let's carry on. Image tag. So search engines cannot read images, and the way to help them understand what kind of images you have is using image tag. Google has image search, so you could also bring some traffic from image search, and that's the reason why you want to make sure that Google understands, what kind of image you have, and ideally you should make it granular, not just say, okay, this image is, thrill meal logo. And this is a pretty good example, like a location of the company. So if you can, try to add as much information as you can.
Wait, so search engines don't read the images, but Google does?
No, Google doesn't. What I'm saying is Google has that image, actually Bing that has one too, but I'm focusing on Google here.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, search engines, it doesn't matter what search engine, they don't read images. So this is the only way that you can tell them. And also, in case if your image doesn't load, users can see what that image is all about by reading that tag. If you don't put that tag there, it doesn't, it becomes blank, so users doesn't know what was missing. Okay, let's move on to tools. So this is the first free tool you should have. Do you guys have it? Do you guys set it up with your website? No?
What, Google Webmasters?
Yeah.
If you have analytics, should you still have this one?
Yep. Because that's different. They both serve different purposes. And what this does is it tells you how Google is seeing your site. So how your site is being presented to Google. So for example, it tells you if there's any crawl errors, if you have a missing page, if you have any kind of errors, if you have a server error, Google can also pick that up. They will tell you in this tool. Then you can see what kind of search queries people use to come to your site by looking at that search queries. And this is kind of a background story, so to speak. Google Analytics used to provide search query data, so you could actually match that to, seeing what search term that people are using to come to your site. Now that capability is lost because Google moved on to secure search, and what you get is not provided. You don't see the keyword data anymore. To substitute that, this is it. You can still use this data. This is the data that can still tells you what kind of search queries that people use and to find your site. So that's
the
that.
URL errors mean?
URL errors.
Yeah, in the bottom left.
Oh,
'Cause I have a ton of those.
that is probably a 404 errors.
I have 5,600 errors.
No, it's just saying, is it 404, page not found?
Yeah, not found errors.
He's saying like the error is called like 404.
Mm.
It's like page not found.
Did you move your site recently, redesign it, rename your URL parameters, something like that?
We changed hosts.
You changed hosting, and what else did you do?
We changed all of the pages and content. We had one host and we had to trash it and then move to a totally different host and
But-
rebuild it.
Rebuild it.
Mhm.
So that means it's a different site.
Totally different site. Yeah.
That's the
It's
reason.
Just the same URL. Or, like same main
Okay, that's the reason.
cchampions.com.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So your URL parameters for all the pages are different now compared to the one that you used to have, basically. Yeah, that's
Right.
what it is. So Google is telling you they cannot, I mean, Google cannot find the pages that you used to have. And ideally, what you should do is to do 301 redirect to direct those pages, I mean, traffic coming to those pages to the new site. Like, if you can identify, match the page to page, that's the best way. If you cannot, you can direct it to your home page, but that will cause soft 404 error.
Right.
And what it is Google is saying, well, it's completely different content from what it was before, even though you're directing to somewhere.
Right.
And Google doesn't like that either. In a sense, it's wasting Google's resources. They're saying this is not the same. It's not good for the users. So ideally, you should match your content if you can, page to page.
Right.
And
Even the old website doesn't exist anymore though. Like all the old
Right.
content.
right. So you need to have some kind of system in place to direct that.
Is there a way for, there probably isn't a way to find out where the URL error is from, right? Like, where is it finding the 404 error? Like which URL?
It actually tells you the old URL the URL that's not there.
Okay.
So you can say, redirect this URL to the new place,
Okay.
and that's
So you can actually see that.
right,
That's pretty useful.
right.
Okay.
And you should do that because some of those missing URL, you probably already have backlinks coming to it, and you are missing those link juice, right, by not having that URL,
It was from
in place for the new site. So,
Right.
any other questions?
Yeah, so let's say if you have a site and it's really good with SEO, but then the site gets redesigned, will the company lose that SEO ranking, or what happens? Like, let's just say if a new team of web developers come in and redesign the site, what happens to the former rankings, and what can be done to keep the same rankings and improve it in the redesign process, I should say.
So, in terms of redesign, what do you mean by
let's
that?
say throwmill.com, the way it is right now. Let's say, and we talked about, let's just say if a outside web design firm came in and worked on throwmill.com, totally different site, same URL, throwmill.com, but obviously the code is different.
Mhm.
There's PHP, there's HTML5, whatever. What's going to happen to the SEO rankings from between the former page and the new page?
So there are two scenarios we can think of, right?
Okay.
One is that you keep the structure, URL structure of the site the same, and you just redesign all the rest. That's the best case scenario. In that case, you don't really have a problem because Google, search engines can still get to that page. You still have that page on your site. So if you're hiring a designer, web design or IT team, you should tell them, say, if you can, keep the same URL structure.
What do you mean by URL structure?
So URL parameters, say you have a page about pizza. So you have abc.com pizza, right? Well, actually, let's make it a little bit more complicated. So pizza hyphen large hyphen yummy or something. When you make a new website, make sure you have that exact same URL parameter, URL structure on your site. Don't change it.
Did you say slash or did you say dash?
Dash.
Right?
Dash.
So that's just the name of the file. Then. If it's dot dash pizza dash yummy dash large dot either PHP or HTML or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. Just mean like they should have the same file. Then, in the server it's one file, right?
Right.
So you're saying that it has you should.
You should maintain that structure.
The structure meaning the structure of the file name or the structure of the file?
The same format.
right. Yeah, like it
So
doesn't.
should be
Yeah,
If it was HTML and the last one should be HTML, let's see.
ideally.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can change it even though you change to PHP or something.
Yeah.
I think it matters. You cannot do that because it's different. So you should maintain everything the same.
You're talking about the file structure itself or just the file name?
I think he's saying
Everything.
Everything.
Yummy
Yeah.
dash ABC dash P, or like whatever the string was, keep that the same.
Right. The file structure, the file name, the folder structure, even everything. Because when someone clicks on a UI, if it doesn't get redirected, right? So even at the end it's HTML, keep it HTML. If you change to PHP, it's not gonna load in your browser. That means what Google is saying. It's not there. So that's, the first scenario is to keep everything the same. The second is if it's different, what do you do, right? So it comes back to the problem that we just talked about. You need to redirect them. And there are two types. There's 301 redirect and there's 302 redirect. Use 301. Tell your web designer, use 301. Don't use 302. For some reason, they use that. Because 301 will pass the link juice to the new site. 302 means temporarily this page is not here and it doesn't pass the juice. So if you're making a new site, make sure you do 301. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, and then the last element, there's a lot more, but I'm just gonna point out the big ones here. Sitemaps. If you know how to make it, if you use WordPress, there's a plugin that you can use actually. And even if you don't use WordPress, there are sites out there that you pay $20 and they can create it for you. You can just buy that software. And what it does is, if you have a retailer site with hundreds and thousands of pages, it helps Google navigate how your site is structured. Now, Google Analytics, like you mentioned, it's a different animal. It takes a lot of time to learn. And what I'm gonna point out here is a couple things related to SEO. One thing you can do is you can find out which pages people are visiting, sort it out based on the landing page and where they're coming from. This allows you to see, okay, I have a page, a lot of people seem to be coming, I get a high bounce rate. What is wrong there, right? And if you want to get a little bit more sophisticated, obviously you can see, okay, so I get a lot of traffic, where do they go next? So you can create that funnel to make sure that you understand the path that they take, eventually get to the purchase page that you want them to get to. And on-site search queries. So this is a really good resource that you can use when it comes to keyword research, because you want to optimize your site. This is a little bit it's detail, but each page should target two keywords: a primary keyword and a secondary keyword. So you should pick two keywords for each page that's on your site, and this will allow you to find out what people are looking for on your site. And from business point of view, you can see, okay, so people are searching for this product. Do I have it? You probably don't. Then you should source it and sell that product. The other is from SEO perspective. If people are searching for this, does it have a high search volume, right, on Google? If it does, then create that page, because people are searching for it, right? And you can get traffic to that page. So that's the kind of usage that you can utilize.
A content keyword or meta keyword?
These are search queries. So are you asking about?
You said 2 keywords per page, right?
Right.
What types of keyword? Is that a meta keyword or a content keyword?
So the keyword, you should put it in your title, in your heading, H1, and in your content. And ideally, it should be in your meta description too. Okay. So basically everywhere.
Yeah.
So everywhere the same. So if you want to say pizza, have pizza on the title, have pizza on the H1, have pizza on the content, and in the description.
Right. If that is the keyword that you're going after for that specific page.
And then on the secondary keyword, it's the same thing. Put it on.
No,
No, you don't, because it's very difficult to structure it. So secondary keyword tend to be a long tail keyword. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the long tail theory. That there's a head, and so like on Amazon, right? The reason they become so big is because they sell a lot of products that people don't. I mean, a lot of small products, like non-famous products that people buy.
Sure.
They have a lot of those things,
Okay.
and that's the long tail,
Mm-hmm.
and they make money out of it because of the volume, sheer volume, right? And then there's the head of the long tail. Same idea applies to keyword. So say pizza. Let's come back to that. That's the head keyword, right, of the long tail. Now you can get granular, right? White pizza, red pizza, I don't know, pizza sauce, pepperoni pizza, white sauce, and it becomes longer and longer, and that's the long tail. So the secondary keyword tend to be long tail keywords. So you can put that in your description if you can. Content, definitely you should have it there.
So secondary usually means like it's a subset, not a subset, but
Right,
more specific.
right.
Like more specific. So let's say maybe for you, if you want to say children with cancer, that's the keyword.
That's one keyword.
Yeah, that could be one keyword. Maybe the secondary keyword would be like Pittsburgh, children with cancer or something. Maybe. I'm thinking that might be because it's more
Right.
specific.
But primary and secondary keywords don't have to be the same in a sense. If the first one is pizza, the secondary doesn't have to contain pizza. It
Could
can
be
be
like
something
tomato
else.
sauce or something,
Right,
or like garlic bread.
right. But the overall content should have that theme.
Okay.
Can you talk about possibly what the variables as far as using similar or the same keywords for various pages of your sites and why that would be a bad thing or a good thing?
Similar in a sense.
So like let's say your site is talking about construction people and you have a whole bunch of different pages about the different states licensing for construction. What if you just put construction as the keyword for each one of those pages? Is that a bad thing to do? Or is that or is it gonna give the user too much when they search for construction? I don't know how that's gonna work.
So you're talking about repeating, keyword stuffing. Is that what you're talking about?
I don't know keywords.
I'm sorry. When you put a lot of keywords in one piece of content, that's called keyword
No,
stuffing.
Different pages.
Different pages.
Different pages with the same keyword.
Oh, I see. So when you have different pages that seem to be targeting the same keyword, that's the. That's a very good question. As long as those pages are not duplicate content, in a sense, if they don't talk about exactly the same thing, you should be fine. In a sense, as long as you don't put construction, what was the keyword again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, construction.
Construction, let's say, right? In the title, in the meta of every single keyword, right? Then you will find, because it could be construction in Pittsburgh, construction wage, construction something, construction, so in that case, Google recognize that. But when you have construction, Google think those are duplicate content, and Google doesn't like it.
So he was saying before that for a keyword, it doesn't have to exactly just be one word. Is it better to use maybe two or three, or is it better to, like, if you can fit it into a word, should you?
That's where keyword research comes in, and that's why people pay us. It's a lengthy process. And let me, I can give you a sort of high level overview of what you can do. So there's a tool called Google AdWords. You're probably familiar with it. It's primarily used for paid search, but we use that to find out which keywords has how many monthly searches. You can filter it based on region too. So say if you are targeting Spanish population in the US, you can do that too. And that's one way to sort of get the number first, right? Then you're gonna have to look at the competition of that specific keyword. And this is where we come in. You have to analyze. So manual way would be you go to Google, you type in construction. The first 10 searches results, they are the most strongest, right? I mean, they have probably the most backlink juice, the backlinks with the highest link juice. And so what you do is you sort of check, okay, so how much page authority these guys are. Page authority is a measurement done by moz.com, and that sort of tells you how strong that page is. Because if you have more backlinks, then you will have higher page authority. So after doing that analysis, if that keyword has pages with low page authority, that means that keyword is easier to rank. But then again, there's some other factors, right? Because, for example, Amazon, they have a lot of pages that doesn't have high page authority. And Google likes those retailer sites compared to like blog news sites for certain categories. So if your product is, like a product, not a service, if you see Amazon, eBay, JCPenney, or Macy, even though those ones don't have high page authority, you are not gonna rank high because Google likes those.
Right.
So you have to think about what industry it is, what other factors they are, not just pure number, and it's a lengthy process again. So, but what you can do is get the number. Don't think about those other things. Just write a really good content. Use social media. Get people to spread the word for you, and that's the best you can do as a startup. I think that that's a good starting point.
Okay. So, what are the going rates for an SEO consultant?
I'm sorry.
Like, what are your rates?
Oh, my
for
rate?
SEO consulting services.
So it really depends in a sense. My rate is $200 an hour.
Okay.
That's what we charge.
Okay.
And obviously there are companies that charge us package. So if you want to work with a SEO consultant, you should go after those companies, and they tend to.
So you mean they work on a per project instead of
Right.
multiple hours?
But then they will give you like a basic package, $500, right?
Okay.
And you have to ask exactly what that basic package is, because a lot of time they will tell you, well, we can make you rank
Yeah.
for whatever keywords you pick. Give us 2 keywords, we'll rank it for you. That's our basic package. But they are talking about off-site SEO,
Okay.
which it doesn't really help you, because you want to make sure your website is good. You need that backbone, right? Make sure your website is good to start with. So you should spend your money on site SEO initially, and then move on to the other.
So essentially, those types of companies are good for, I guess, startups, and your company is probably good for, let's say, a PNC Bank.
Right. We deal with enterprise, but I do personal consulting, and I can I do package in a way like other companies, like so.
And the next question is just about the whole craft of it. When I see these two guys, to practice law, you have to learn law in a formal setting. I don't see anywhere, can people major in SEO? I don't know if computers are, because it seems like everyone who's learning SEO is self-taught and reading books and this, but is there a formal, like literally, like when I went to
Google, there's a certification process where you can be certified to do to understand analytics and AdWords. They have their own classes.
no, but I'm saying that's through
Is
Google.
there like a
But I'm saying
master's
like
of SEO?
yeah, like a bachelor's degree, like if someone
Probably-
went to political science.
Probably not yet, or
Okay.
maybe a class on that possibly. But there are a lot of like disciplines. For example, game development 10 years ago probably did not exist.
Yeah.
Now there's like a master's of like game
Yeah.
development or something.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think SEO is probably one of those skills where you can pick it up from books and
Books,
stuff.
okay.
Books are probably books and websites.
Well, everyone I've met, and I'm assuming you're self-taught as well, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Everyone I've met who's an SEO consultant, they're self-taught.
Yeah.
So they just did it on their own time and
Right.
practice.
They are.
It's a lot of. I told this to Mark. SEO, like the theory is not like crazy, but there's a lot of execution. There's a lot of doing. And so, would you agree to that?
Yeah, when I was doing, when I was running my company part time, I obviously did a bit of SEO as well, and I couldn't focus on it. It really requires a lot of time. Now I'm doing full time, and it's really deep. If you start, try to understand one concept, it's like a rabbit hole. You just keep going down and down and down and down. So yeah, you're absolutely right. There isn't really, a formal certification. There's Google Analytics that's required if you want to become an SEO consultant. I had to take it, and there are other resources out there like quizzes, but not really a formal, certification process. Maybe I should come up with one. That's a good business idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would
For
be a.
teaching class, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, as far as another revenue generator, because SEO is kind of like that flavor of the month thing. Everyone's so concerned about it. Um, I mean, obviously this is like a teaser to it. Like, obviously this is foundation. We have to
Right.
grow deeper than this workshop. But I think even offering a course where
Yeah.
maybe you charge a tuition
Right.
to companies, I think that would be very useful.
Yeah, that definitely could be an idea. Yeah. Let's try to get, because we're, want to keep this in a reasonable time.
Oh, so
So
you have a
some-
quick question?
Yeah,
There- there-
under Google Analytics, because I used to see the demographics of whoever is going to my website, but now it's saying that there's a threshold that I haven't fulfilled. So now all those demographics, the ages, the gender, and the location, well, I still get the location, but the demographics on the sidebar,
Hmm. Yeah,
you know
that's
what
now
threshold?
fulfilled.
huh?
It's now fulfilled. That's what they're saying.
There's a threshold that I have not reached or something.
Yeah.
Oh.
Meaning like.
Like they have
yeah.
something new. It's a forgot the name, but it's an update that you have. It's a piece of code that you have to insert into the page. And I tried inserting it, but the demographics is still not popping up.
When did you put that in there?
It's been like that for like a year.
Oh, that's weird. Huh. That is weird. I have to take a look at it.
I can show you later after.
Yeah, that sounds weird. Because you should be able. I mean, the opposite problem. Like you have too much data, they don't want to give it to you. That's different. But you have data, right? I mean, you're not reaching that limit, so we can take a look. Okay, so that's that. Now offsite SEO. So it's all about link building, right? That's it. That's basically it. But don't pay for it. That's the message here. And here's where why links are important. The way Google works when it comes to backlinks, it's like I don't know if you guys are familiar with scientific papers. So if you publish a paper in a very well-established journal, people recognize it, people say cheer about it, people cite it, citation. Now, when you publish a paper, if you get cited in that very well-established journal, you get credibility, right? Because you get recognized by that established journal. And same way with Google backlink. So if you get a backlink from Yahoo News is a well-established, well-known. People think, oh, okay, so Yahoo is mentioning about you, so your site must be good, and that's what Google thinks. And depending on the anchor text that's being linked back to your site, so for example, Yahoo links back to your site with SEO, then your site is recognized as SEO related website, and you start rank higher on search engine result page for that specific keyword, and that's how it works essentially. Does that make sense?
Yeah. How do you get somebody to link to you? I mean, like, what's the best practices? Do you just ping the person? Let's say that I think Pittsburgh Business Times write about Thrill Mill a lot. Then let's say that we want to go to more national level, and we say to Forbes or whatnot, hey, can you guys write about us, or like what's the best way to get people to link to you?
That's a really, really good question. That's actually something to do with my next slide. Um, they are companies that specialize in link building. They don't do on-site SEO. They just build links for you,
Yeah.
and it's a really good business. Like some company charges like $600 a link, enterprise level. That's what it is. And it takes a lot of effort. Like you say, email outreach, that's one way. Some people build links, use robots, softwares. They still do it, even though Google doesn't like it.
Robots. Yeah.
Right. So what you do is you build your own network, or you can, depending on how you structure it, there's like different way of link building. You can make like a pyramid scheme kind of thing.
Sure. So you have built probably websites that link to your own other websites.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Does it have, like,
That's
are
kinda
they doing it
silly.
within the same domain name, or are they doing it with completely different domain names?
Different domain names.
So yeah, let me give you an example. The way you can do it is you first of all you have to go purchase different domain names, right? Like you said. Then you have to go get different servers, because IP address, and make sure it's a different C class, because basically not just the last two digits. You have to make sure that it's more than that. Then what else do you need? Ideally, you should have a different DNS, right? Domain name server, because Google may think, oh, why all this come from the same? They can pick it up. And what you do is you start making like a circle, right? Here, there, here, and then you start organizing in a way that they interlink to each other, so that Google cannot trace it back to the money side. That's what we call it. The side that you want to make money out of it.
Right.
And there are so many ways that you can do it. You can go do hunt for expired domains with high authority domain names. Some company, they just let it go, and it's out there. You just have to go mine it, mine for it, look for it, and buy it, set it up, link it back to your site. And that's just amazing how some people do it. It takes a lot of effort, but apparently it pays off.
So now, are you worried about them changing their policies and just making that extinct, that loophole?
I'm pro extinction.
Okay, alright.
Because I did see my site. I'm still playing around with sites these days, and I did see my site jump up when they introduced the last update. It's called Panda 4, I think, and it's basically targeting these spammy backlinks. And so yeah, they are constantly updating the algorithm to target this spammy link building scheme. And that's what's going on. I mean, they're working on it, but not as good yet.
Right.
Yeah. So coming back to link building, so there's so many ways you can use all these things to build your links. Press release, you can release it. Go to press release site and build backlinks, but it takes a lot of time. You don't really want to do that. So let me give you one other example. This is what you can do. You go to your competitor site, use a software, a service like this one, Open Link Profile. See what kind of backlinks that they are getting. And if you guys, since it's your competitor, most likely it's in the same industry as you. So these backlinks like your industry, most likely. Maybe it's a review site, maybe it's a news site. What you do is you outreach, tell them, say, hey, you seem to be writing an article about our competitor. Why don't you write about us? So that's one way. Takes a lot of time. You need to have a software to automatically send out the email, send it back, sort that email out, this and that. So there's a certain setup that you need for that as well, if you want to do it professionally, so to speak. But that's one way you can, build backlinks. So for startups, what should you do when it comes to offsite? Don't think about it. Just focus on your business, right? Get your product out there. Get recognized, and people start talking about it. They will start review it, and that's how you start build a relationship and build backlinks. And once you get big enough, something that you do. This is what we see with the big companies. They do something. They don't have to do anything. People mention about it, right? So you want to get to that stage, at least locally, even in Pittsburgh market. Like you said, Pittsburgh Business Times, they pick you up because you guys are established here. So any questions with regards to what we talked about so far? No? Good? We all good? Okay, let's move on. I think we're sort of a little over time, but SEO, there are different kinds, right? Black hat, gray hat, white hat. What you don't want to do is black hat. Gray hat could become black hat next year. What's considered gray hat right now, it could be black hat. So try not to do that, even though it might help you right now. And here are good examples of what not to do. Don't hide your text backlinks, things like that. Clocking, present one version of your site to search engine, different version to user. That's called clocking. You don't want to do that. Buying backlinks, that's really bad. So let's take a look at some examples. BMW, what did they do? They did clocking on their content. And what happened to them? Well, they got banned from Google. They disappeared completely for several months.
Wow.
So even BMW, a well-established company, can get penalized by Google.
Could this be cloaking, so putting, for example, a font in white and just putting keywords on it so the person can see it, but since it's still text, then Google can crawl it. Would that be cloaking?
That would be, it sounds more like the first one. Clocking is we use like a script or something, or to present one version to Google, but completely different. Some affiliate sites do that, I think.
Oh, I see.
So you shouldn't do that because Google can detect it. And for BMW, obviously that's what they did.
Right.
Overstock, they're paying for backlinks. In a way, they didn't pay it directly, but they are telling people, if you give us backlink, we'll give you discount. That's not good. Google didn't like it.
How did Google find out about those kind of things?
Oh, it's interesting how they find out. like people like us, SEO a consultant. Sometimes we report it. We go, if something's wrong, we just go
Is that right?
dig it.
Oh wow, okay.
Sometimes their algorithm can pick it up.
Right,
It really depends. Because you can really analyze a website, where the backlinks are coming from, what they are doing on their website, things like that. So it's like a detective work. It's pretty fun. JCPenney, content farming, again, got penalized.
Content farming, is that the one that are like what do you call that? Invisible? Is that content farming? Or?
I think what they did is they built a lot of sites out there and just link back.
Oh, okay.
Like content,
Sure.
content farming, and they build content out there, and then they start building backlinks that way.
Okay.
And Google obviously doesn't like it because those are all your sites, not someone else's site.
Okay. I see.
And to answer your, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It says, so Google's like the government now.
Yeah,
almost like- right.
scary.
They're the
Scary.
government of the internet, I guess,
They're buying everything. Like
Right.
they're buying like companies that control your house, right? They want to get into your house too. So this is a article that explained how Expedia got exposed to Google, because Google didn't know that until someone came along and said, hey, there's something wrong with the Expedia. So what happened is they developed a WordPress theme with a backlink at the bottom, so whenever
Interesting.
people download it, install it on their website, and then they get the backlinks.
Man, that is so
Sneaky. And guess what? They didn't do it by themselves. They hired a marketing firm that did it for them. A marketing firm that specializes in, link building. So you have to be careful when you hire a SEO consultant. I'm okay. By the way, I'm white hat. Okay, so if you wonder what's good, what's bad, please visit this website here, Webmaster Guidelines. It tells you what you should do, what you should not do. Okay, so the exciting part. Let's go through some of your
I
teammates.
have to confess, we're probably gonna be really bad. Well, no, we don't do any SEO, but we should probably be doing that hopefully
We
soon.
have news websites linking back, so it
Yeah,
can't
you
be too
right.
bad.
We did. Probably Bobby is the one that is our SEO expert, like talking to people and get people to kind of write
Backlink.
about us.
Yeah, so I don't want. I mean, I only look at the bad side. I didn't take a look at the good side. I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but I am in this case, I guess. So, Taiwanling, that's your side, I suppose. Yeah. So I did see quite a bit of duplicate content.
Because they're all the same, just different colors. So
Right. That
I did
also.
put the no, what is that? Don't crawl.
Right, that's one way to solve it, but at the same time, canonical tag is a very useful way for retailer side. It's kind of complex concept, so you might want to look up website to understand what it is before you apply it. Essentially, what it does is, you have a page, 2 pages, and by putting canonical tag, you're telling Google, hey, this page is the original, this is not. So you are still showing users in Google both content.
What's the format of a canonical tag?
It will be, you can put it at the top in the meta section. So all the other meta tags, and then you can have canonical tags there too.
Is it like a class? Was it like there's a tags and then there's the description or something? How do you tell the tag that's the canonical tag?
You have to decide which page is the original and put that original page URL on both pages using canonical tag.
Okay. And if I Google canonical tag, I'll see how it's set.
Right. And depending on the CMS that you have, it might have some SEO related plugin or something that allows you to apply
Something
easily.
that's automated.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. So that's a big problem. And one of my clients actually retailers, like they make billions of dollars, but they still
They
suffer
also
from
have it,
have the same kind of problem. Okay, next one here, Pittsburgh Beats. What I found are pages that seem to be like in development. I'm not quite sure exactly. Okay. So what you want to do is obviously use that robots meta tag. Make sure that it doesn't get crawled.
Right.
And this is a kind of big one, Portal. The site is based on JavaScript. Seems like when I visit the site, there's a loading. And that's not good because even though Google really recently, they just announced, hey, we're gonna start, executing JavaScript, they still have problems when it comes to executing it. So it could be like that, blank to search engines, and you don't want that, right? So make sure that it's not Flash, it's not iframe. Ideally, shouldn't be JavaScript either. Your site should be plain, good old, HTML coded.
We actually just started, we got a new domain called Duo Screen,
Mm-hmm.
that's our product, and we have all the social medias with that name as well. And we're starting a blog just like now on the website too.
Yeah.
That's the point of it for SEO.
Right.
That's a good.
It's an interesting thing because like if you have portal.com or like whatever, portal and then dual screen. If you link to each other, is there gonna be a penalty because it's basically from the same people or something?
Well, this one was just a kind of dummy link to have on our business card and have an email,
Okay.
and it was a landing page. We'll probably like 3-to-1 redirect to our page, just
Okay.
to have it go to our new site, so we don't lose those people that were at Google.
Okay.
And in that case, the case that you just mentioned, Google can tell if they are hosted on the same server, same IP address. They can just, oh yeah, that's probably from same people.
Yeah, but is there gonna be a penalty?
No, it just doesn't pass the link juice. So
okay.
it's like,
Okay. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So it doesn't count as a link, like an outside link.
yeah,
So it's not-
exactly,
okay.
exactly. So it doesn't hurt you,
So
but
that's not so bad. So you can have like a company website and then all different product websites, right? Yeah.
and sorry, I only did 3 because of the time I was given to prepare the presentation.
I gave them like only a week or something.
But that's the message, right? If you have a website, you should care about SEO. I hope you got that message today. And that's me. If you want to get in touch, that's my contact information. And please visit my website, Digital Ready Marketing. That's it. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks. Couple things. So I guess it depends on the company and the size of the company, but like when should I know SEO support, like when should you really actively do SEO?
The beginning.
The beginning, of course. But I'm sure that like, for example, Mark has like 5 people in his team, but he's so busy. Do you guys feel like you have bandwidth to do SEO?
Yeah, I mean, just the basic, I think we could do it. I mean, we're startups,
Yeah.
so you kind of put in what you have to.
It's tough because I've ran a team of 4 people and plus me was 5. I didn't have time to do SEO.
I mean, yeah,
It was so,
but that's why I'm trying to do these little
yeah.
things and just to do something, you know.
Right.
right.
I mean, if you just carry out those on-site SEO points that I gave you, you pretty much better off than a lot of websites out there, because a lot of websites out there don't do everything that I mentioned.
Right.
So you don't have to spend a lot of time when it comes to SEO. You have to be aware of it when you're designing, new website or moving your website.
Also, it used to be that the age of the page
Right.
also makes it like higher. You can get like a higher rank or something because your page is like already like 20 years old or something.
Generally speaking, yes. But then it comes back to that 200 ranking factors, right?
Yeah.
How many links does that page have?
Okay.
What kind of, what's the content of the page?
Yeah.
Is it optimized,
Right.
right? All those things.
Yeah.
So,
And,
yeah.
and there's one other thing too. Is like if these companies wanna start learning about SEO, what's a good resource you think to kind of like self-learn?
It will be, first of all, go moz.com. That's Moz.
Moz.
You-
M-O-Z?
M-O-Z, yeah.
M-O-Z, okay.
It used to be a SEO Moz, but now they rebranded to moz.com.
Interesting.
There's a background story to that, but I'm not gonna get into it.
Okay.
If you want, I can tell you later. But it's a very good site. It used to be focusing on SEO. Now it's more like content marketing as a website. But
Okay.
still, it's a good resource. They have a forum.
Yeah.
Just go to the search and just type in your question, and you can pretty much find everything you need.
Cool. Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, so if you see something that's like in the news or something that's hot that people are talking about, like there's a lot of talk around Hillary Clinton right now. There's a lot of talk around that guy who like walked away from who was the military guy. What was his name? Bragg Barkdale.
Yeah.
Right. So with
Bergdorf, yeah.
something that's hot in the news, right? So if you were to create a page around that topic and review, just talking about whatever relating to that and using that as the keyword, how long would that help you for? Just as long as you get like say it gets a little bit of traffic because of it, would it help the rest of your site, or is it just that one page that's gonna
Like talking about a popular current event.
right?
Now, it really depends on what your site is all about, right? If it is a news site we're talking about, or is it just normal business site?
Let's say you have a normal business site, but within that site you create a page. You create a page that essentially will be like your blog, your news section of the site. So it's like it's more encompassing. The site's more encompassing, and it has a whole bunch of different things. Like it'll sell products and it gives information, and then you have a separate news section of it, right? So it's like the 3 buckets of the site. Will that help like bring traffic? I mean, if you get people to the site, obviously they the chances they're gonna click around. But I guess what I'm asking is, will it actually increase your rankings the way I want it to?
I see.
Well, it's just like anything else, right? Like when there's a new fad and business, alright, maybe I'm too old, but, remember those, animal-shaped wristbands that they were selling? Like
Right,
CVS
right,
for
yeah.
a while? Alright, so those blow
Think
up,
about
and they
it
blow up
coming.
for like 3 months, but everybody has them for 3 months. And the idea isn't to sell those, it's to bring people into the store to look at everything else. So you figure it's gonna be the same thing. If people link to a specific story or a specific fad,
I know,
they're gonna
we're
look
talking
at
about
the
traffic.
website,
I'm not
right?
talking about traffic.
I
I'm
think you're
talking
saying
about the
this.
ranking.
Well, are you saying this, for example, let's say all of us have our own blog on our websites, and something like, okay, Pennsylvania with same-sex marriage, there could be a blog post that has, companies have nothing to do with the same-sex marriage agenda, but said, it could be a blog post saying, what we think about same-sex marriage in Pennsylvania, or, Kennedy Blue Communications, right now, is like the NBA finals for PR firms or something like that. Or I see that all the time. People manipulate current events and use it as like a title or some way. I see it happen all the time. So that when, you know, let's say, and it doesn't even have to be related to the business, like, you know, like I'm saying, like Thrill Mill, right? Thrill Mill could have a blog post saying like what we think about same-sex marriage in Pittsburgh. Same-sex marriage and that legislation has nothing to do with Thrill Mill whatsoever.
Right.
But I'm saying there's a lot of companies who write about what's happening in the like popular events in the news, and kind of try to manipulate it and angle it to fit its like structure of its business. I see that all the time. But how useful is that?
So it sounds like there are about, well, at least two big questions, right? One is, okay, there's a trend. How long is that gonna last? Should we go after it? You can use Google Trend to see what kind of search volume. It mirrors to the search volume, really. So you can see, okay, this trend's upcoming. Maybe we should get on the ship and start talking about it, right? If it's really relevant, I'm sorry, relevant to your business, right? So when it comes to non-relevant business topics, I'm not sure if it's really good idea, depending on your audience. If your audience like that kind of topics, they will mention, you know, and come and say, okay, oh yeah, they talk about something that's relevant to us, relevant to the community or something. That will likely get a lot of backlinks, right? Because people are gonna start saying, oh yeah, this company, that's their opinion about this topic. In that case, depending on the backlink anchor text, if it's relevant to the topic that you're talking about, your page will rank high for that specific keyword that people are using to link back to your site. And that really determines, you know, if it's gonna rank high or not. And obviously the content, how you structure and all those on-site elements, you know, where the keyword is placed is in the title tag. So all those factors come together will determine it. So you cannot really say, okay, if I'm gonna write about a current topic, it automatically you're gonna get a lot of traffic. But there's also another element. Is it gonna be good for your business? In a sense, you have to see, are the people coming in just read the blog and bounce, right? Are they going to where you want them to go? So that's another thing you should think about rather than just thinking about, okay, I'm gonna get traffic. Is it a quality traffic? If you waste your time on that, it's not really worth doing it.
So say you were to do this for a while and you were to build up your keyword ranking for certain keywords, and then A, it's no longer hot anymore, so people aren't really searching it, and then B, you stop posting. Does your ranking then drop after a certain period of time, or is it kind of stay the way it is until something else takes it over?
It depends on what kind of, how many backlinks you still have right after the site starts aging or the page starts aging. If those links are still there, obviously you will still continue to rank high for that specific term. It doesn't go away. In fact, as your site ages, Google recognizes that because, you know, spammy sites, they disappear. So that's one of the factors that Google looks at. Say, okay, your site is aging, but it's a very small factor too, right? Simply have 200 also factors. So, does that answer your question in a sense? You know, leave it up there if it doesn't hurt you.
Right.
Yeah, that's the. I guess that's the answer.
All right, Tony. Well, thanks.
Thank you.
I know. I think Tammy might have some questions for Tony or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
If you have it. But
Okay.
I'm gonna head out and sorry to keep you from your pizza.
No, that's okay.
A couple more slices there.